Justin Rule here from Launch Kits. Look, if you're looking to start your own business, maybe you're a solopreneur, maybe you're starting with a partner and you're launching this thing, I want to give you a quick warning for three common mistakes that we see here at Launch Kits. We've helped launch nearly 2,000 businesses in the last 10 years. So we have a ton of data and empirical evidence to support these three mistakes. Three mistakes that you make when you're starting a business pursuing financial freedom. Before I get into the three mistakes, I would just encourage you to make sure you have a really clear definition of what financial freedom is for you and your team. That way you're running in the same direction with the same end in mind. That's a big deal. But three mistakes that people make, the one I see all the time is people are over investing early on. So for startups, we think, how do we start and get off the ground running as fast as we can, as hard as we can, start getting the phone to ring, start getting, like, that's kind of usually what you're thinking. It's not always, how do we start, and within the next year, how do we start making a profit? Understandably, we're usually thinking like a little bit more of a here and now. So over investing is a strong temptation. What that looks like is you're buying new things instead of used things. So the car, the truck, the lawnmower, even the MacBook, right? You kind of fall for this. Well, it's a business expense, or maybe you have some financial backing from somebody, and you're like, well, it's their money. I would strongly encourage you to don't over invest. Sometimes that means you're buying too much apparel. You're wasting money on these things because it feels good and looks good to you to have like 10 different shirts or 3 different hats. Or you spend a ton of money on a logo when you could have got one online for a few $100s, or you could have used a chat bot to give it to you for free. Now, some businesses, that's not smart, and you kind of have to weigh out your business, think deeply about the brand you're trying to present, who you're trying to attract to your business. But over investing, what it does is it sets you, especially if you're pursuing financial freedom, it sets you behind before you've even begun. So it's kind of like showing up to run a race and you're the guy with a weight vest on. That makes no sense. Why would you start running the race with a big old weight vest on? The borrower is slave to the lender. Like when you are borrowing and over invested, you are kind of waking up every day thinking, how do I pay back that money or that loan or that borrowed money? Early on, what that does is it starts to leak into how you present yourself, how you sort of are desperate for a sale instead of offering a service. Services are really about serving people. And when you have to pay back some of that to someone else because you've overinvested, you start to sound like you need them to do this for you. Rather, you should be coming into sales conversations or product and marketing with the idea of, how can I serve someone with this thing that I love to share, as opposed to what do I need from them so I can pay back other people. Enough said. Don't go in over invested. Second thing is over promising. It's tempting when you look around at maybe the local competition doing the thing you want to do to sort of over promise, like I can do that better, faster, cheaper, something. I think those things are better when they're revealed over time, even to yourself, because then you're confident about them because you've been doing it for a year, 2, 3, and you then know that you can do it, say, faster, or you can do it more affordably than a competitor. Don't overpromise in the beginning. When you start a business, I think you should just be confident. So being humble when you start a business is about being confident in what you're delivering. So you don't need to wave a big flag and overpromise. It is way better to underpromise and overdeliver, as I'm sure you've heard a bunch of people smarter than me say. But here at Launch Kits, that's what people we don't say, hey, we're going to be the most amazing service experience you ever had. You'll never, be upset with the way our team from USA serves you and quickly respond. I don't say all that. I just let them experience it, and then they're like, wow, this is incredible. I mean, literally someone just told us that yesterday on a call. They said, your team is just blowing me away. And I'm like, I didn't tell them that. They just needed a website. So we made them a great website. So if you're launching something for financial freedom, now how does overpromising and financial freedom go together? Here's the deal. If you've overpromised, you then have to keep up the pace to deliver what you said. And usually somewhere along the line, because you need it done faster, so you need another person. So then you hire someone else, and now you've just bound that financial freedom cord tighter. You've promised it, to have the latest and greatest tech, and now this new thing comes out, so now you have to get it so that you're keeping up with the competitor. Again, I would say start by just being humble and under promise and over deliver. It's a big mistake to over promise early on. The last one, which is a difficult thing to navigate for you and your situation, but I often see people making the mistake of over hiring. I had someone I used to work for who would say they didn't hire someone else until someone was doing twice the work one person should be doing. That's certainly one way you could approach it and think about it. That's not the way, after 10 years of doing launch kits and launching over almost 2,000 people now. Watching carefully, I would say, here's when you should hire. You should hire when you're losing money because you don't have that specific role filled. So as the business owner, usually early on in the business, you're doing sales, you're usually doing the service, you're probably doing marketing, you're wearing a couple different hats. And it's tempting to say, man, if I didn't have to do my books, or if I didn't have to make, content, or if I didn't have to go out to every quote, I'll just hire someone else to do my estimates for you. That may or may not be wise for you. What I would just caution is, as soon as you hire someone, there's a lot of other things that go into hiring, from payroll taxes to HR requirements that you have to literally you are then supporting someone in their family with what you've done. You've sort of made that commitment to be a source of stability for them. And as a business owner, that's a heavy burden to shoulder. And usually I would suggest that you do, say, for example, the quotes and the estimates yourself until a couple things happen, until you're losing money because you don't have another person to do those estimates. What that could look like if you're into quiet entrepreneurship, like we promote and like we strongly encourage and love working with people who are in this model of not just build, sell, scale, sell, but more, I want a lifestyle business that is supportive and honoring to me, my family, my time, my community. So you're not doing estimates, say, after 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or whatever the boundary is that you've set, so you're home for dinner. All right, well, someone wants an estimate at 8 o'clock at night. What do you do in that situation? Now, you could have someone that just does estimates in the evenings because you've made a commitment that you're not willing to break, which I would applaud, to be home for dinner and present with your family and turn the business gears off when you're at home. That's huge. That is a win on all levels. But you might say that's losing money. I would say you tell that person who wants an 8 o'clock estimate that you're prioritizing and valuing your family, that you'd love to meet them tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock when you're back on, or whatever the time is you're back on. And look, if you lose a deal or two because of that, I would say, hey, give yourself a pat on the back that you are staying true to your commitment and goals. Now, during the daytime when you're working, if you can't get all the estimates in, maybe you want to consider bringing someone on. So, just think through those things carefully, because it's not like hiring is a quick, oh, I'm going to do that. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to do that now. You kind of want to carefully think through that. But early on, I see a lot of people hiring a bookkeeper, a marketer. They've got a social media person that's going to do their thing, make their content, and someone that's going to do their estimates. So I'm just going to run the business. Or, that's a way you've overhired. That's a big red flag starting. Hopefully these tips help you. Maybe just think through a little bit if you're going to start a business or thinking about it, or it's one of your, man, when I'm done with this job, I'd really like to start my own. Just those are 3 things that I've seen constantly done not as well as they could be for entrepreneurs over the last 10 years. So all the best to you on your journey, and we wish you well.